G'day viewers, Annie here. This video is about how to apply for a Fossicking permit in New South Wales State Forests. I'll show you how to do an online permit. I'll also show you how to use their mapping system and provide some information on how to find a campground. Hope you enjoy. When you go to fill in the application to Fossicking State Forests, there are several boxes you have to tick that you've read and done those activities. So this video is set out in a pattern so that you follow those. First step is to Google Forestry Corporation of New South Wales, and it will take you through to their website. So if you scroll down to the foot of the page, you'll come across a section that says permits. That will take you to the various types of permits that are available in a state forest. If you click on the link to purchase a Fossicking permit, it will take you to the page that will inform you about the cost of the permit and to follow the advice and directions in this guide to Fossicking in New South Wales. So this guide to Fossicking in New South Wales covers a number of things. It might seem boring, but in the case of if you're going to get a fine, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So this covers things, any restrictions on equipment, surface disturbances restrictions, the amount of material that you can take out, covers what equipment is permitted and what fossicking equipment is not permitted, about where you can fossick, about the fossicking districts in New South Wales that they've set up, whether you need consents on private land, minerals and claims and opal prospecting licences, Crown land and state forests, which we're centering on today. Also, whether you need native title consent, and that fossicking is generally not permitted in national parks. Anyway, I'll put in a link to this brochure. Make sure you have a good read, know that you're up to date with the latest. There's a handy link on information before you go, and it covers things like forests that are closed due to COVID-19, also things like safety, travelling, vehicles, clothing, all sorts of things. As you can imagine, state forests sometimes have harvesting taking place, so you've got to be aware that there are log trucks on the tracks and things like that. It's a good idea to check out links on whether there's closed forests or closed roads, because where you want to go mightn't be available to you. So under the links before you visit is apply for a permit, and it will take you to the permit page. After you click on the Start button, it takes you to an interactive map of New South Wales and asks you to pick an area, but this doesn't really matter anymore what area you select, because the permit covers the whole of the state of New South Wales. When filling in the application form, if you don't think you'll be there for a week or two, you can alter the start date to be a bit later. You tick all these boxes at the bottom to say that you've complied with the conditions, and then it proceeds to payment. When you receive the Fossicking permit, print it off and keep it with you, as sometimes rangers will want to inspect it. If you've previously held a Fossicking permit, you can retrieve a copy, so by just putting in your email address. and applying again. So if you're sticking to the state forest only, you get the Forestry Permit to detect, and then you go onto their system and log into the maps area. This takes you to their online mapping, which details areas in the Fossicking districts where permission is required outside of the Fossicking district, and denotes the state forest where you can detect. Using the little wheel on your mouse, it will scroll in and out on the map, allowing you to look closer at details. If you click on the location button, it will show where you are on the map if you've got a device in the field. If you follow the mouse here and click on that little square box up there, it will take you to a selection that you have of various images like satellite images, streets, terrain with labels, topographic, and the base maps showing roads. On the right side of the mapping screen, there is a layer list, a drop-down list there, and I've removed all the layers, but we'll click on each just to show you how it interacts with the map. You will see that the state forest areas are highlighted in green. To be able to drill down into more detail of the state forest, you need to remove the state forest layer. Then click on the plus button and it will take you further and further down into more detail of the maps. In the far left-hand corner of the screen are GPS coordinates, and if you run your cursor along any road or anywhere on the map, you'll notice that these coordinates change as it is moved. The major fire trails within the state forests are named, but the smaller and sometimes not so well serviced ones are just numbered. You'll see that the blue colour here shows the creeks and the small tributaries that run off those creeks. For another aspect of the terrain, you click on the imagery and it will take you to the satellite type overhead imagery of the whole area. The mapping program has numerous features, so I suggest just don't be shy and find your way around. There's a query section here that I've highlighted as well. There's a little black up arrow at the bottom of the page that you can also click on, and it'll give you further details including the map number of the forest. Before this online mapping was introduced, the Forestry Commission had a number of PDF maps which have been archived, and I'll put a link to that in the About section of the video. These maps may be of some use. For example, I'll show you here at Binga State Forest. If you click on it, it takes you to the PDF map, and the map shows the old tracks, has some coordinates, and it also has little mine symbols which would help you locate areas within the state forests. At the time of publication of these maps, the orange hatched areas were where fossicking was not permitted. This next map is further down the south coast where there is a Bowman State Forest, and this archive map shows a lot of the old tracks and the mining symbols that may help you also locate gold within these areas. This here is just the legend that is shown on these old archive maps. So most of us who go gold detecting want to camp overnight, and if you go to the forestry website, click on visit, it will take you to their camping area. There was a link there to any current closures, which would be an idea to have a look at, and then go to their camping self-notification. And camping in New South Wales State Forests is free. I'll also put up in the About section of the video a link to Find a Forest. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. If you have, give me the thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to my channel, and I'll welcome any helpful comments to be placed in the area below.